Hello and welcome to Wargaming with me, Gary. I'm laughing because I just stuffed up the last one and used a naughty word because I stuffed it up. So I'm starting again. What am I doing today? I'm going to have a look at the rule set, and it's just a general overview of what to expect in the Kings of War rules. So very similar to what I did with the first book, which was a general look at the book in its entirety. This time I'm going to look specifically at the rules, but not going too much in depth. I just want to show you what's in there, some of the differences, some of the similarities. If you like a comparison, yes. Yes, so that's the plan today. But before I do that, I had some very nice comments. Thank you very much. There's two comments I think which stand out a little bit, which I'd just like to cover. This isn't going to be a comments video. It's just that they're linked to what I'm going to do today. So I'd like to, if I could, just quickly do that. I'm going to put my glasses on in order to read them because I've got memory like a sieve, as you will be aware. And I'm going to move this along here, just so you can see me leaning forward, so when I read. The first one's from Heresy Productions, or Heresy Productions, the fame of Heresy Productions, perhaps I should say, Palmer, who's got his own channel. If you've not already seen his channel, you need to go and have a look. Very well done. Lots of really nice stuff on there. And like myself, he likes a glass of beer. That's it. That's it. And he's from all the way across the other side of the pond. He's in America. Who'd have thought people in America like beer as well? Anyway, look, I'm rambling. What he says over there, he says, great overview, Gary. Thank you very much. I was under the impression that the fantasy book is the flagship game, an initial release, and the historical book was like a later supplement or alternative. I'm interested to hear how you like it after trying it out. Cheers. And yes, Palmer, spot on. And I'm not an expert in Kings of War, but I'm becoming a little bit of an expert in the background of it, and you are exactly right. The Kings of War fantasy, which was a flagship, came about because of the people who had produced Games Workshop. So some of the people in there wanted to produce a slightly simpler rule set with more affordable figurines. That's not everything. There was a lot more in that about why Kings of War came around in the first place. But that is like there are specific things in there that's why that came around. So yeah, Palmer, you're quite right. The historical rule book was certainly, for want of a better word, it was an afterthought, but a very well thought out afterthought. And I think with what we talked about last week, because I said that the fantasy book literally draws you in, whereas the history book was much more basic. Let's get on with the games, and this is the army list. I kind of think that supports that. The other comment I got from John P 4000. Now John doesn't have. I haven't seen. I haven't seen that he has a channel. If he does have a channel, John, if you've got a channel out there and I've missed it for whatever reason, let me know and I'll subscribe. And I'll encourage everybody else to subscribe as well. But his comment was, I had the impression that the historical set was designed more to give a Kingdom of Man's army. Can you see me? Yeah, Kingdom of Man's army more favour than just the standard medieval fantasy type contained in the main rules. Kings of War is a good mass fantasy set and not too difficult to learn. Yeah, exactly. And I would agree with everything there. To the point where in my reply I said, yes, I agree. The historical rule book provides real opportunity to develop beyond the medieval armies, and that the rules are easy to learn. And then I just said all the best man. So that's, yeah, so I totally agree with what John said there. There was another little bit on there. He said, I would suggest that you have a look at the Hail Caesar, a good system, again easy to learn for historical battles with a much better selection. Now, the interesting thing about this is that when I was deciding what rule set to use, I'll read it out. Cheers, John. To be honest, it was a toss-up between the two. If it hadn't been for the fact that my local hobby shop had a copy of Kings of War Fantasy, I would probably have chosen Hail Caesar. It just works that way sometimes, doesn't it? As in my army list, no, as there is an army list in, there is an Assyrian army in the Hail Caesar army list. And that's what, although I'm doing orcs and I'm doing lots of other bits and pieces, my main topic at the moment, ancient Syrians. So yeah, so I thought I'd just quickly go through that. Well worth mention, I thought. Now, I'm just going to put this down so you can see the two books, and there we are. So there's the fantasy book and the historical, and they're both open on the rule pages. Let me just go through here, because I can't get them both in. Let's put that on there. So you can see that now. I'm going to have to read out from here. So this is my second Kings of War video, and it's a general overview of the rules in each book. The rules for both books are very, very similar, and certain sections, understandably, are almost identical, if not identical. Both start with units, so if I just turn, I'm only going to turn over, right, so they both start with units. Where are we? Both start with units, which include infantry, cavalry, large cavalry, war engines, monsters and heroes. And that's the same in the fantasy book as well. It covers the number of models, in different size units, which units can be used in conjunction with each other, model based size. I don't know if you can see just here, it's got the model based sizes. It's got front and rear rank, so front and rear rank, what that means. Unit leader points, can they see? There's a bit here which, if you just look here, it talks about whether they're in line of sight, measuring distance and stats. Now, although this section is identical in each book, the photos and illustrations are different. So if we look at the, so this is the same, this is identical as this page, except you can see different photos, different illustrations, and this is much more different as well, much different compared to the illustrations on there. On top of this, the diagrams are also, so I've already said that, so the diagrams are actually in a different format. There is also a common unit base size chart in this section in the fantasy book, whereas in the historical book, this chart is in the modelling notes at the back. Now I'll just bring this back here because I want to show you what this is. This is what I'm talking about here. This is the common unit base size chart. Now, that's in the opening part of the rules. For some unknown reason, I have no idea why they've done that. Like for the historical book, they put it at the back where the modelling notes are. So it's identical again, but for some reason it's back there. It's got a front rank diagram as well. There's also a stats chart. That is a good example of slightly different, as the historical book uses English bowmen for its example, whereas the the fantasy book uses the kindred archers. So it's just they're using troops that they've got for fantasy and history separately. But apart from that, it's identical. So that's it, my rules overview. I will go into this section in much greater detail when I start the how to play video. So my assessment of the two, my comparison of the two, both rules section are very good, they're very well done. Photos and diagrams very good. Although in my opinion, relatively basic, which is what I've said before, that the rule set is relatively basic and easy to play. It is obvious that the point of the game is to get the figures on the tabletop as quickly as possible and start playing the game. For me, again, the fantasy book has the edge, as I just don't understand why the unit base size chart in the history book is somewhere at the back of the book. I don't get it. I think it's a mistake, you know, because it's with the modelling tips. You know, I don't get it. I don't get it why it's over there. So there we are. I hope you're enjoying these Kings of War videos. Feel free to leave comments. And then I've said all the best from me. There is something I should say again, and this is kind of like my disclaimer. I should have said it in the start. This is independent for me. I'm not in any way attached or connected to Manticore or Kings of War, and I'm not paid in any way by this organisation or by any other group. So the reason I point that out is because what I'm telling you is what I feel and what I've seen. So I'm not influenced by anybody. I'm not saying that I wouldn't be influenced by anybody who's going to give me a bag full of money. Use notes if you don't mind. But yeah, so that's that done. I hope that's been okay. I hope you've enjoyed that. I must admit, I'm quite enjoying doing the Kings of War. And I'll talk to you again later. All the very best. Take care. Bye.